want more speed, accuracy, and expression in your playing, you must avoid this one common mistake. I'm Margaret Wasik. I'm the creator of the Golden Tone Technique. I am a concert pianist, an educator, and author of 2 books. The common error I see piano players making, students and even seasoned players, is that they think they must add on new techniques and new methods. But it's exactly the opposite. You must subtract the bad habits and unnecessary motions that get in the way. I'm going to share with you the 4 common mistakes I see students making time after time. I'm going to show you not only what they are, but how to eliminate them for your greatest piano playing. Okay, so the first common mistake is that pianists tend to push into the keys. Okay, so did you see what happened there? There was such an intense pushing into the keys that was happening. I see this a lot of times. Students are doing that to try to get the most sound out of the piano. But there is an easier way, because when you push, inevitably you're going to feel it in your forearms and your wrists. They're going to get tense, and you will develop problems in the long run with repetitive stress issues unless you correct it. And here's how. Instead of pushing, think of dropping. We actually can use gravity to our favor when we play the piano, because after all, the piano is perfect for that, because we can drop and use the forces of gravity. So when you execute all the parts of this puzzle just right, you go from this kind of sound when you push Did you notice how there was a difference of sound? And did you notice also the drop down? If you want to know the step-by-step how to do that, you can watch the free 60-minute training. The link is right below. Number 2, lifting fingers. The student will lift their fingers up high, and the sound is usually choppy, too harsh, and sounds very disconnected. I'll show you. Now, that is not optimum for a lot of reasons. Number 1, you are using too much up and down movement. It's simply inefficient. But what is the thing to do instead of lift fingers? Now, after all, students usually lift the fingers to get enough energy to be able to press the key down. So what do we replace that with? Well, instead of lifting, we can get a better effect by staying very close to the keys. Let me show you. So you can actually, instead of this lifting, you can just keep the fingers closed down, and you can still get a loud dynamic by rotating. So you get all the benefits of a loud sound without the harshness and without the tension and the unnecessary extra motion that comes from lifting the fingers. Plus, not to mention, it will just give you an accuracy that surpasses the lifting of fingers. Why? Simply because you are close to the keys and you can't miss. Number 3, and this is a big one, Replace heavy arm weight with light arm weight. Now, why do people play with heavy arm weight? Well, there's a lot of sensible reasons to do it. It grounds you in the keys. Again, to use the Schubert example, so you could see that it kept me inside the keys. Sometimes when we get nervous, the piano will push our hands, our fingers out. It's a common thing. And so instead, the player will use a heavier finger and arm weight to keep it inside the keys. But again, over time, the heavy arm produces a lot of slack. You build up tension, and you can't really sculpt your sound with a heavy arm. So what do you replace it with? Well, you replace it with a light arm. And how we achieve a light arm is that we let the larger muscle groups of our back and shoulders take over the weight of the arm. So the arm becomes light as a feather. And when you have that in place, along with some other very important alignments, well, then you can get across the keys more fluently and also have the benefit of keeping inside the keys. Number 4, replace fast repetitions playing the same chunk of music over and over at a fast pace. Replace that with a few times practicing at an ultra slow tempo. So here it is in practice. So this is a lot of times the way a student might practice something. So at this point, it becomes really not interesting anymore. Your brain stops participating. It becomes just a finger activity where the finger is just on autopilot because you just keep playing it the same way over and over and over. In order for repetitions to really be valuable, you have to vary them. You have to give yourself a goal. You have to say, okay, this second repetition, I want to improve such and such a thing. With an assignment to yourself, you can actually make the repetitions count. And what also helps is varying the way you do them and throwing in a few times a very, almost uncomfortably slow type of practice like this. What is the benefit of that ultra slow practice? Well, pianists, great pianists from the past used to practice this way all the time. Slow practice really engages the mind, the ear, and the heart together. It really keeps us on our toes because we disengage the autopilot that sometimes forms by mechanically playing things the same way all the time. When we switch it up and do it slow, it's really like a whole new world. Whenever I ask my students to do it, they really are surprised how difficult it is. But it's so effective because you give yourself a lot of time to create, to really take in the sound. And as you're playing one note, you have time to imagine the next note, how you want to place it. It's so meditative to practice this way. It is so freeing also to your creativity. And you also develop the inner ear so that you don't passively play, but you are involved actively with each and every note. And we know that when you play intentionally, it makes the biggest difference, far more than playing things all the time the same way, accurately even, and expressively in a generic way. Playing something with your full mind and heart and soul is so much more fun, and it's just such a greater experience for yourself and for anybody that listens. So there you have it. These are 4 things that you can do right away that will instantly transform your piano playing. So tell me, which one do you plan on implementing first in your piano practice? I'd love to hear your progress with these exercises. So you can always reach me at thegrandmanner.com and sign up for your free 60-minute tutorial if any of these ideas resonated with you and you'd like to go a little deeper. Join me next time for another tutorial.